Hello and welcome to Gardening at 58 North. In this video I'd like to give you a quick update on my Amaryllis bulbs here, because it's been quite a while since I've given you guys an update on them. So these are the three bulbs that I have currently in the flat. These two are the original ones I've had for many years, and this one's actually a baby that's come off of this one in a recent propagation video. So they've been doing pretty well. Unfortunately this year I've had a lot of plants on my sunniest windowsill, so I wasn't able to give these the sunniest of positions. So I think that's probably going to set back their flowering this year. I'm not expecting the flowers to be quite as impressive as last year. The reason being, these have been on a northwest windowsill, normally they're on a southeast windowsill, so they haven't had as much sunlight as they probably should have had. But they've still had plenty enough to fatten out the bulbs. You can see they're really quite nice and large. And the only other issue I've had is with this one here. As you can see, if I turn it around here, there has been a little bit of rot. I'm not sure if any of this rot is still active. It seems to be most of it's fallen off that has been rotting, and what's left seems quite firm. So I don't think there's any active rot left. I think now it's in the dormant period and I stopped watering it, that's hopefully cleared out the rot. But you can see it has taken away maybe a quarter of the bulb, which is a shame. Now this one's actually showing the first signs of coming into flower. You can see it did actually start putting out a leaf, but that leaf has died. I think that's, you can see there, I can pull it off. I think that's to do with the rot problem. I have a feeling that the bulb is damaged, and to be honest, this might be the last year it flowers, or it might actually die this year, I'm not sure. But it does have two good flower shoots coming. You can see the first one there, that green shoot. You can tell it's a flower shoot because there's a little notch in the top. If you ever get a small notch in a shoot coming out of an amaryllis, you know it's a flower shoot. If it's just kind of a curved top, like the one coming out of this one here, without a notch in the middle, then you know that's a leaf. So you can see there, it's got a curved notch on it, and there's a curved bit to the top, sorry, and there's no notch on that, so that's definitely a leaf. But this one has two flower shoots. So there's this one here, which is just coming up on this side, and then if I turn it around, there's a second flower shoot. It's kind of hard to see, but it's just down there. Another one, so that's quite good. This should have two flower shoots, and it looks like they're going to flower at the same time actually, which will be interesting to see how that does, because often there's not enough space for the two to be flowering right next to each other, because the flowers are so large they kind of push each other apart. And I find that they quite often, if it is two flower shoots, they come one after the other. So I've not had one flower at the same time that that one is. I have to say, with the damage to the bulb, we'll just have to wait and see how that does. This one's still in full dormancy. These have all been dormant for about a month or so. This one has got a huge bulb there. You can see it's really large. That's all completely firm bulb. It's not soft material or anything. So this bulb's absolutely massive. Last year I thought this was going to have a second flowering because it was such a big bulb, but it actually only had one flower. So there's a huge amount of energy stored up in this bulb, and it'll be interesting to see what it decides to do this year. As I say, I can't see any real sign yet of any flowering, but the bulb's healthy and it hasn't been dormant for that long, probably only a month or so. So still plenty of time for it to start growing again. It'll probably run a bit more of a dormant period. And finally, this is the young one that I propagated, and that was propagated from here. And I think that's why this has got some rot in it. I think what happened is when I separated this, there was an open wound, and that let infection in, and that's why this bulb has started to rot. What I probably should have done is either had some antifungal powder put on it, or I should have let this dry out a lot more in between watering so that no rot could get into the new wound. But as I say, we'll see how that one does. But this one certainly has done fine, hasn't had any rot in here, and it's grown very well. It hasn't grown any more leaves since the initial leaves it had when I first planted it, but the bulb has certainly swelled up. You can see plenty of fresh green growth there. See if I can clear a bit on this side as well. You can see it's definitely much bigger than when I took it off. It's probably 2 or 3 times the size, maybe 4 times the size. So that one's doing really well. And as I showed you earlier, it has got a little tiny little green shoot coming out the top, and that's a leaf coming up. So I've just started to water this one again, and I'm watering this one because the flower shoots have appeared. And so this should come out of dormancy soon. It should put on a lot of leaves, and it should be much more leaves than last year. And hopefully the bulb will fatten up. I still think next winter it won't flower, but hopefully the winter after that. So that's only a 2-year wait from separating from the parent plant if it does flower in that time. So that would be quite good. And it'll be interesting to see how quickly this grows. I'll see if I can put it in a sunnier window this time, this growing season, and see if I can get it to fatten up faster. That's my Amaryllis collection for now, just a very quick brief video. I'll probably be doing another update. It'll probably be like a month or two, because I find once the first signs of the flower tip comes up, it does take quite a while until the flower finally opens up and reaches full maturity. So it'll probably be at least a month or two, I would think. So probably February or March time. Research the latest mine I've ever flowered. I found that they're getting later and later each year, but maybe it's just with them syncing up with the seasons here in the UK. It would make sense because the dormant period really should be over winter, whereas when you buy them for Christmas, they've been forced to have a dormant period earlier in the year. So it kind of makes sense that these are starting to sync up with the climate we have here in Scotland. But that's all for now, and I'll give you, as I say, update in a couple of months' time.